What's up, guys, and welcome to Weigel Friends English. It has been a minute.
It's been a while.
Been a little bit, but we have a master, so...
Finished with graduate school, ready to start hammering on some editing for YouTube.
Yes, so you can expect to see more regular videos from us now that we have got most of our ducks in a row.
Most of them. Yeah.
Most of them. Today, we are going to talk about and deliver the video as promised at the end of our last video, which is talking about how to make your home a second language acquisition culture, basically an English language island in the midst of a country that doesn't speak English.
And this is really important for us because, especially with a little bit more time finishing graduate school, we actually plan to implement all these ideas that we're going to give you guys today in our own home with Chinese as we continue to acquire that language that we started a long time ago now.
Yeah, but like I said, for that language before, we've said this before in another video, but these are some things that we started to implement then that was vastly different from the way we studied any languages before. Like Spanish and Greek and Hebrew, we did in completely different ways. We did grammar translation method.
So what we're going to give you guys today are 10 ideas that you can use in your home right now to continue to acquire English.
Right. And a note, this is specifically designed for intermediate level speakers trying to help the rest of their family. Beginners can also do this, but you're going to have a little bit more work up front than an intermediate speaker would.
The first way to make your home an English language island is to replace the music that you currently listen to with music in English. We've talked about that a little bit before, but the idea is that you take the thing that you already enjoy, the music that you already enjoy, and actually listen to it and to look up the lyrics. Don't just listen to the tunes and say that was a really nice melody, but actually look at the lyrics, understand what the song is about, and try to actually learn the song all the way from the beginning to the end.
The idea here is that you do it on a structured interval so that you do it one a week if you can handle that. If you don't have time for that, do one a month. But the idea is that you eventually end up, you and your family end up being able to listen to that song and sing the words along with the song as it goes. Every single word, not necessarily humming some parts or da 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 da. Okay, then sing the rest of the song, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to know what that song says and be able to say the words. Right. And not what sounds like the words, but what the words actually are.
Right.
Another thing is to make your playlist ahead of time. Choose those English songs ahead of time because if you don't, you're less likely to do it. You're going to default when you're tired after work or driving home from work or something. You're going to default to what you already know, what your kids already know. It's harder to get into acquiring English and to restructure things if you don't prepare for it.
Right. And the second way for you guys to make your home an English language island is to not only replace the music, but also replace the videos or movies or TV shows that you guys watch on a normal basis. So, for example, our kids are really into Encanto right now. So what we could do is we could watch Encanto in Chinese, and there's going to be maybe some stuff that they don't understand, but that's okay. Because if you, as the adult, can explain it to your child, then not only are you learning more because you're teaching, but also they're learning that you are a good source of information for this new language.
And they have fun with it. You would be surprised at how much fun kids have with other languages. One, they might think it's hilarious because they have no idea what they're saying. But two, they might just think, oh, this is really interesting. And it actually captures their attention again because after they watch a movie 100 times, they tend to stop watching it and say that they're watching it, but not. But if you're doing it in a new language, sometimes they may ignore it, but that's okay. What you want to do is just put them in the area, get them in the environment of where they're hearing English all the time. And that includes you. You need to also do this. That's the key.
The third way for you to make your home an English learning island is to be able to play games in English. That means choosing English games if you are choosing some foreign games on your phone, perhaps. But also, it's actually playing the game in English. I did this in China, and I thought it was really, really fun to actually be able to play a game in China in Chinese with Chinese people.
Yeah.
It was the ultimate test in a way.
It's the ultimate test, but it also gets you to like catch on to phrases that people say. If you're playing an online game, there's just certain things that they'll say at certain times that makes it hilarious, and you forever remember that phrase.
Right.
It's hilarious.
Some ideas for you guys that you can play together as a family. Games that we enjoy are games like Overcooked or
Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time, Moving Out. These are collaboration games where you have to work together in order to solve whatever's happening or to reach the goal. It's great language learning skills, especially with prepositions and your directions.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Really.
Absolutely hilarious. So definitely check those games out. We'll put links in the descriptions to them.
Fourth way to make your English island is to learn a recipe, learn how to cook a dish in English from English recipes. So don't take a Chinese recipe or another recipe and translate it over, but take the original recipe in the original language and try to do something. And it might actually be better if it's like an American dish, not a Chinese dish that's been translated. So, for example, in America, we often make cookies. So try to find a cookie recipe in English and try to make that. And not only do you get to learn English, not only are you studying English, but you're also, in a way, you're tasting English. You're tasting the fruit of your labor, which is really, really valuable.
It's a lot to do with the culture. You can find us for any English-speaking country. You can look for Australian recipes. Go to YouTube alone. If you're here on YouTube watching this, then you've got access to it. Just type in Australian recipes. And likely it's going to be an Australian cooking a meal and showing you how to do it. Learn from them. Write it down as you're listening. Write it down and then follow it. And then have an Australian night.
The next way for you to make an English island is to read a book together as a family. So you can do this a few different ways. You can either have it as a special time and a special day and a special hour of the day, like at nighttime you're reading a story, or you can just have a story available and you guys are all reading it together. Maybe you go line by line or page by page or whatever it is. But the idea is you make it a culture to read books in another language together as a family.
And if it's something that you don't enjoy but your kids enjoy, that's a great way to learn about your kids. Like if your kids, or you'd like your teenage son is really into science fiction, have him choose the book. It's a great way to interact with your kids and not make them feel like you're dictating their decisions and what they learn and how they learn. That happens enough in life anyway. So it might be a way for you to get to know your kids and what they enjoy. But if they're really young, like 3 and 1, like ours, then what we do is we choose the book and we work through it. Or we go to the library and get a book and we read that together as a family. But there are times throughout the day where we do reading, especially at nighttime.
The next one is very fun. I'm very, very fond of. It's to do a STEM activity or a craft together as a family. So I love looking up ideas for activities to do with my nephews and to be able to just do something fun with them, something that they've never done before, whether it's making a sling or doing a funny trick with some forks and a toothpick, stuff like that. I absolutely love doing that because it's always instructive, even if it's not very purposeful. I mean, who cares about balancing a fork on a piece of glass using 2 forks? But if you do that, though, you can do it all in English. Find the activity online and be able to do the activity in English and be able to even instruct your children in English while you're doing the activity together. There are loads of activities and crafts for you to do and choose from. And those can range all the way down to really, really basic to really advanced stuff. So if you find those ideas, those are really, really easy ones to do with your kids.
Yeah. And make sure you provide the opportunity, no matter how young they are. You want to give them an opportunity to say, hey, what do you see? And ask them in English, because the younger they are, they might not be thinking of the difference between languages that they're hearing and speaking. So if you switch to English and you ask them in English, they're likely to either respond in English, even terrible English, that's okay. All right. Don't correct them. Just encourage them using it. All right. They might respond in a mix. They might not respond at all. But the idea is you want to explain and then use your English to explain what you see as well. So if they don't respond, then explain what you see using English, even if it's terrible English. The point is that you are using it, and they are hearing it, and that you guys together are spending time together doing something using English. So the next one is a great idea for older kids especially, but you take news. We all consume news articles throughout the week, even every day. But the idea is that you take those news, and first, for you, it's best if you read them in English or you listen to it in English. But then you should have a conversation, especially older kids. If they're 12 and up, they should be able to communicate these things because I guarantee you they're hearing about them at school or through their friends or through someone else's parents. They hear those things, so you don't necessarily have to just, never talk about it or bring it up.
Yeah, normally they can be pretty simple news stories. It's not
Yes.
Don't try to find really advanced, difficult news stories, but try to find easy ones, and then you can ask them some questions on what they think will happen next.
Yeah, well, what they think will happen next, what they think about the idea presented, how they would solve the problem, what are some things that they could ask, or you could even talk about the English style and the reporting style. You could say, well, how would you report on this? You could even set up this whole fake thing where you could say like, okay, I want you to gather information on this one thing. I want you to go watch your dog and I want you to make a report out of it in English.
The next way to make your home an English island is probably a little selfish, which is to make an English chore list for your kids or for yourself. We know that running a household it can take a lot of work. It can take a lot of work to do all the chores. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I want my children to be able to know how to keep a household well. And so that means that there needs to be some element of doing chores. And a lot of times parents, we just tell them to do something, but kids can be very visual. They don't know how to express themselves very well, even at a young age, but they understand what needs to be done. And so if you can show them a chore list and make a chore list in another language, it can be really, really powerful, even from a young age.
Yeah. And it could be something as simple as you use pictures at first. And you explain to them every day when it's chore time, I want you to throw away your trash. I want you to pick up your toys and put them in the bin. Use pictures to explain at first as they hear. And that's almost better than reading at first because they can visualize so that when they hear those same words over and over again, they associate it in their mind with a picture, not with their original language.
Right. Way 9 for you to make an English island is to get involved in forums and discussion boards and in things that are happening online, but try not to use ESL pages or something like that.
Yeah. So we've been a part of online ESL forums for a long time, and sometimes there's good information. Most of the time there's terrible information that's completely incorrect, and nobody pays attention to the teachers who get on and say, hey, that's not correct. Most of the time it's drowned out by lots of other people giving their advice on also incorrect English. So the best thing that you can do is go to primary sources or go to actual English speaker forums and watch. I get being scared to interact. You do eventually need to interact. But if you're really scared, well, spend time reading them for a while. Catch up on the expressions, learn the things, and they are not going to be grammatically correct all the time. They're going to write like they speak, and they may even mispronounce some things or misspell some things, and that's okay. The thing is that you're engaging and you're putting yourself into a natural native English speaker setting online. And that's really, really important because if you always use ESL rooms and ESL forums and ESL everything else without knowing that it is closely structured and closely moderated by actual teachers, there's a lot of mistakes really fast to happen. Definitely try to insert yourself in places like Reddit or Quora are great examples of places that you can go and ask your own questions and experiment with answering other people's questions or just reading. It's a great way to interact with native speakers online.
The last one that we would say is a good way for you to make an English island is to learn a course or learn a skill through an online course but only in English.
Only in English.
So this is going to be kind of the test of all the work that you do, is to be able to have a skill that you already like, that's probably unrelated to English in your mind already, but to be able to learn that skill in that new language. And if you can do that, not only are you playing to your strength of learning something that you already want to learn, but you're also acquiring English during the process. And because any skill is going to have a lot of jargon or a lot of special vocabulary. So it's going to be a hard hurdle to go over. But if you can learn a skill, do a course online, and incorporate English into that, then you get something that is kind of a unique mixture of your own mixture of your skills plus English added onto them.
Right. So yeah, if you're into games, then take a game course. If you're into UI interface design, then do that. If you're into things like art, or you're into sketching, painting, any of the arts are pretty easy to take an online course at a relatively inexpensive rate. But you could do all kinds of stuff. Online courses, not directly related to English, but solely taught in English. So you have to interact in English, you have to listen in English, read in English, all the things in English, but that's what you need. And that's for you. You can sign your kids up for that if they're old enough. I can't put my 3-year-old on a computer without him smashing things, but you could do that for older kids. If you have teenagers, sign them up for something they're interested in an online course that they choose, or you work together to choose for them, but completely in English.
A lot of this comes down to one big piece of advice that we would give you guys, which is to choose comprehensible input.
Yeah, so you don't give university textbooks to your child. Same thing with English. You need to start by watching your son's 3-year-old movies, right? 3-year-old baby TV shows. Start by learning those. Sit down and watch them with them. Listen to kids' music. It's simple vocabulary, simple sentence structures, things that you need to have mastered before you can handle extra additional stuff. And so the thing is, kids grow up. So if nothing else, if you only kept pace with your child, your English will naturally get better anyway, because they will be engaging in English as they grow themselves. They're not going to watch baby TV forever, right? So you need to be at the point where you can start with the milk and grow into eating the meat. You need to start with easy English, simple English, and then grow to doing the more complex English. Along with that line of thought, with the comprehensible input, is to place English where you should be using it. So at home, for example, in the kitchen, a lot of people say just take labels and label everything that's in the house. Even we've said something like that before. But I want to expound upon that. You need to take sentences that we use, that native English speakers use, and put that right in the place. So in the cabinet where you keep your cups, for example, you could say, I want 2 glasses of water. Or can you put away the glasses in the cupboard? Or something like this. And then just have a list of vocabulary words that are inside that cabinet. So you might have glasses for glass cups. You might have wine glasses if you consume wine. You might have just cups. You might have kid cups, like little plastic cups for the kids. You might have sippy cups for a baby. So keep this in mind. Put the vocabulary words right where you need them. That way, every time you open that door, you remember, oh, I need to speak English, find the sentence you should use. And you would be surprised at how quickly you will get to the point where you don't have to look at that list anymore. And I know it sounds like there's going to be Post-it notes all over your house. Maybe there will be for a little bit, but they only really have to be there for a couple of weeks. Before long, you and your entire family will be having conversations with one another really inside the first week. If you really do this, it would be pretty much inside the first week that you'll start to be trying to communicate and have silly conversations with each other in English. Don't be embarrassed if you don't know English very well. The thing is if you know something, you can teach it. And don't be necessarily worried about having it exactly right. There is an element of, yes, you should be teaching right English, but if you're surrounding yourself with right English already, it's going to be naturally corrected. So you don't need to be sitting there drilling yourself. There is a place for structured learning, and that place is for refining your English skills. And we'll get to that in other videos in the future. But for now, surround yourself with English. Thanks for watching, guys. My name's Amber.
I'm Josh.
And we've been teaching English for a combined total of like 14 years. But We've been doing this teaching online for 2 years and just recently started a YouTube channel. So we hope to be putting lots of free content out here for you guys to help you learn, help you teach your families, help you guys grow in English together.
And if you are working to acquire English in your family and you continue to strive to find new and better ways, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We're going to be a lot more consistent the following weeks of being able to put out content for you guys. So click subscribe and we'll catch you guys in the next one.